I was recently accused of being a liar by Pastor Steven Anderson, right? So I'm going to answer that tonight, and I'm going to teach on some things, and I wish he could have just left it alone because he decided to go back to some sermon from months and months ago when the drama was going on, and now he's full-blown calling me out as a liar and preaching in context, essentially teaching without having to say it explicitly that I'm a wicked person, and if you listen to anything that I have to say, you're a wicked person and you shouldn't listen to anything that I have to say. So that is very improper way to teach the Bible, and slanders my name and is calling me out as a liar, and that is a false witness. And this is my case study for false witnesses tonight is Pastor Steven Anderson. He's my case study. A few weeks ago, too, I taught on deceivers. Not just bearing false witness, but people who deceive. And deceivers can mislead people astray without even actually saying something that's technically a lie. Deceivers love to do that. They love to say things and leave things out and only make statements that, well, this is technically true. But you're leading people down a path that the conclusion is wrong. And what's an example of that? Well, an example is, let's just say you have a person who practices corporal punishment on their wife, otherwise known as a wife beater, okay? A piece of trash, by the way. Men who are wife beaters, who want to beat their wife, are pieces of garbage. You are not a man, you are weak, you are insecure, and you do not know how to run your house. And that is not tolerated here. It will never be tolerated here. But a person who practices corporal punishment on their wife may say something like, well, what I do behind closed doors with two consenting adults is no one's business. What happens in my bedroom is no one's business. It's not a denial of anything. And technically, is there anything being stated there that's not true? But what's the impression that people are left with? But when you want to get to the truth, when you want to discern truth, because you can discern the truth, you could look at reactions. You could look at how people respond. You could look at the actions of people that oftentimes speak louder than words. You could look at sermons against wife beaters and see, oh, wow, this went down the memory hole real fast. This got blocked real fast. I wonder why that happened. And you have statements that say, you preached 2 negative sermons about me. 2 negative sermons. I preached on judging righteous judgment, which, by the way, was one that said you need to do diligent inquisition, which we're going to get to that passage in a minute, and make sure, get the truthfulness of the statements that are being made and determine. And you know what? Apparently that was against him, that sermon. But now he's trying to use those same verses to say why I'm a liar. But then the second sermon was literally against corporal punishment of your spouse. Why would that be against you if you don't do it? Amen. If you don't do it, you can just come out and say, well, that doesn't apply to me. It's not against you then. Because even at the time, I wasn't convinced that was happening. But after the fact, I sure was. And after the fact, a lot of things came to light. Like, when you have conversations with people and you're talking about stuff and everything's going well, and then it gets awkward. Normally when things are going well, it's because you're in agreement on stuff, right? Like we could fellowship and talk and be like, yeah, hey, you can talk about anything under the sun, and when you're seeing eye to eye, things are great. But then like someone says something and it's like, oh yeah, I don't agree with that. But you don't really want to cause a problem. We all know when that awkwardness happens, right? Well, after looking in hindsight for a while, I was able to think of a memory I had where I was talking with Pastor Anderson at his house, on his driveway, and we're talking about things like the flat earth. Because way back then, this was way before flat earth actually became a thing like on YouTube. it's just this big thing and all these people getting involved in flat earth stuff. I had come across something, and it was like the Flat Earth Society, and like we're just talking about it, just kind of joking about it. It's like, can you believe that there's still, because I was shocked. I was like, there's still people around today that believe this stuff. And we were joking about it and laughing about it. It was fun, and we were just seeing eye to eye. And I don't remember if this is the same day or not, but it was real close together. But then I brought up the subject of corporal punishment between spouses. And I was like, can you believe that? Like, this is weird. I mean, isn't that weird? Like, you're treating your spouse like it's your child or something. Awkward silence. Is that a smoking gun? No, it's not. But there are things like circumstantial evidence, and there are things that you can start adding up the pieces, and you get a little piece here, and a little piece here, a little piece here, and then all of a sudden, okay, I can see the full picture now. The Bible says this in Proverbs 14. You turn, if you would, to Deuteronomy 19. Proverbs 14, verse number 5. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. Now, when we look at Proverbs 14:5, does that mean that since everybody has told a lie in their life, that there is no such thing as a faithful witness? It's absurd, right? It's silly. Don't we look at this and comprehend that, like, people are going to be known for as to be a faithful witness or to be a false witness, right? They have a reputation that's built. And of course, that needs to be considered when you're hearing people say stuff and you're kind of figuring out what's going on and what the truth is. Which is one of the reasons why this is something I'm even talking about, because I kind of feel like I have a reputation of telling the truth. Because it is something that I care about. It is something that I have worked hard to have a reputation as someone who tells the truth. And I'm not lying, and I haven't lied about anything. Everything I've said has been the truth, so help me God. And if I'm incorrect about a conclusion, I mean, maybe I am. I'm not perfect, but I know what I've seen. I know what I've saw. I know what I've heard. I know what I've seen. I know the conversations I've had. And what really boggles my mind with this whole situation, because I was accused of lying on 2 points. This sermon, back from a sermon I preached in Greenville about being a faithful friend, is he got himself together and he's like, I've got the transcripts and these are the exact words, and tries to do a statement analysis on me speaking off the cuff on just some things that had happened that we were aware of that I chose not to go into detail about because I didn't think it was appropriate, and I don't think it's appropriate. And there was already enough information out there from his 4 children, his oldest children, giving their own testimonies about the things that have happened in their household. So what's 1 or 2 things that I'm going to say, or 3 or 4 or whatever, really going to do? I didn't want to have to go down that road and continue it, so I was just stating that, you know what, there are ways I was able to corroborate this. And there are, because trying to be a faithful witness and trying to be diligent about seeking the truth, I talked to his sons on the phone, I asked them questions, and then I also tried to confront him personally about all the information that I had. The problem is, I was only able to talk about really like one event that happened before he threw a tantrum and just refused to talk to me anymore. That's his fault. But he's operating now under the assumption that, well, that's the only thing he has, it's the only thing he knows, so since I know he doesn't know anything else and that's all he has, then when he's talking about first-hand and second-hand, and my wife's a first-hand account and not me, he's going into all this elaborate detail trying to say that I'm a liar, and I didn't even make a statement other than there's these different witness accounts. Now look, if you're trying that hard to make someone a liar when I didn't even make a statement on what was witnessed, you're hiding something. You're covering up for something. You're scared about something. And he's already, look, I know we've heard people, my name's been slandered over there, my wife's name's been slandered over there, and I've kept quiet, and I've kept my mouth shut because I'm trying not to get involved in the business, but you're going to go publicly and call me a liar. Well, guess what? I'm calling you out as a liar because I didn't lie about anything. And yes, there is a first-hand witness that I have. So you want to call me a liar because you're saying I don't have a first-hand witness? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You didn't want to hear it on the phone. Your fault. Calling me a liar. Oh, that's statement analysis, this and tell. Oh, see, look, this is why he's lying. You're full of it. You're full of beans. You're full of garbage. And he's the one saying, oh, yeah, see, if someone's lying, then you shouldn't listen to him. And it's your fault if you listen to a liar. Well, hey, everyone listening to Pastor Anderson about calling me a liar, it's your fault. Now, apparently, you must be wicked according to his logic because you're listening to that liar. It's ridiculous. And look, for the record, I don't believe that. I don't believe that people being deceived by someone telling lies to cover up their own sin is just a wicked person. I don't believe that. But that's what he would teach. And it's funny is he's going after me because he knows I actually have something. To his church members, it was, oh, yeah, you want to leave? You don't think I should be, go ahead. You can leave with my blessing. But all of a sudden, I take a stand. It's like, well, let's go after him now. Because that's basically what my stand was. Look, we're breaking fellowship. For these reasons, specifically. And that's it. I've kept my mouth shut and haven't done anything. Haven't really said anything, left it alone. But, the real problem is he found out that Paul's putting out a documentary and he's scared and he thinks that I'm going to be in that documentary saying more stuff. So as a deceiver, he's trying to get ahead of it and control the narrative. If you're paying attention, that's exactly what he's doing. And yeah, you know what? Just lay it all out. That's what he's doing. He's trying to control the narrative. He gets ahead of everything. Just like he tried getting ahead of his daughter's video coming out by putting out his own video and slandering everyone else involved and trying to control the direction that things are going to go and to distract and to get people away from hearing the damning testimony from his own children. It's ridiculous. I was in Proverbs 14, the Bible says a faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. The next verse says, a scorner seeketh wisdom, but findeth it not. But knowledge is easy unto him that understandeth. When you're bent on being a scorner, even if you want to seek wisdom and you want to see, well, why are my kids doing this to me? You're not going to find it. It's going to be hard for you because you're not really interested in the truth. Put yourself in this situation. Your 4 oldest children are growing up, becoming adults and everything, and they all turn against you and hate you and make all these videos about you, make all these accusations against you and against your wife. And then you have other people coming out and saying, yeah, you know what, this is, I've seen this or I've seen this. At what point is it just, well, everyone's wrong except for me? And think about this. If that happened to you, would you be going, I did nothing wrong? No, I'm confident I've done nothing wrong. My 4 oldest hate me, want nothing to do with me, they're gone, but I did nothing wrong. Okay, I guess you could keep thinking that way if you want to, and you could believe that all you want, but any reasonable person is going to be able to see right through that. And at the end of the day, your 4 oldest, you either raise them to be really wicked, horrible people and lying about a pastor doing this great movement and this great work, I don't know what that says about you as a leader, if that's the case, or they're telling the truth. Either way you slice it, you haven't done a very good job of raising people. I mean, it's not like it's one. It's 4 out of 4 that are able to actually speak their mind. That's not a one-off, that's a pattern. That's a trend. And what is the incentive of any? See, the incentive that he has to lie is because, I mean, everyone wants to cover up their sin. No one wants their sin found out, especially something that would have ramifications like, yeah, I got to step down. The huge incentive to lie there. What incentive do his children have? What incentive do I have? Seriously, that's why I have spent the time putting forth all the information that I did and giving all the credit where the credit was due. Because I have no benefit from speaking the truth here. Personal benefit, none. Zero benefit for me. But I do care about the truth. And I am going to stand up and say the things that are true. And I'm not just going to sit down and be quiet while the lies just propagate and continue and continue. And especially when you're going to direct them at me. So I make a non-statement of just saying there's first-hand, second-hand knowledge that I've received. And you know what? There's a lot of it. And I didn't go into any details like the family members that have come to me other than those that made videos that have also corroborated things for me personally behind the scenes, which I'm not going to name because they were telling me things in confidence. So I'm not going to mention who that is. They could come forward if they want to. Friends that have come forward and shared things with me. Again, not going to make it public. They didn't make it public. And there's a witness that my wife had, her firsthand testimony of seeing a child with the results of a beating pretty much from head to toe on her backside. And yeah, we have text messages that confirm that happened too, talking about that very event. And the cold showers that she was put in then after that because she wasn't able to control her and the beatings weren't working. Aren't you glad you called me a liar now? Because this is what everyone wants to hear, right? I chose not to bring out the bad details because I was not trying to paint him as just this monster of a person, because there's been so much good that's been done. And in the whole time that I had known him personally up until very recently, look, there's been, and just like he's posting videos with his kids and stuff, of course there's times when things are great and things are good. It's not all one way or the other. It is complicated. There is a lot going on. There is a lot of good times and some bad times and whatever. But you're lying about some pretty significant things. You're misleading. You're misguiding. You're being deceitful. Deuteronomy 19, verse number 15, false witnesses. This is why, look, this is extremely important not to bear a false witness. Verse number 15 says, one witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin. In any sin that he sinneth, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days, and the judges shall make diligent inquisition. So you got someone making a false claim, and you got someone else saying, no, that's a lie. Well, what the judges are going to do, they're going to make diligent inquisition. They're going to investigate. They're going to see. This is what I tried to do. I literally heard testimony from both sides. And then I used my own information as well to help discern, as well as just talking to people for a long time and kind of figuring out and being able to spot red flags and being able to spot holes in people's stories and things like that. And look, some of the things that his children said wasn't really that strong and wasn't that reliable and wasn't that great of testimony. But you can't just throw all of it out because a couple of things just seem like, that doesn't seem to add up very right. Maybe there's some issues there. And especially when they're all in agreement with each other individually. The judges shall make diligent inquisition. Behold, if the witness, and here's the thing, if the witness be a false witness and hath testified falsely against his brother, this is why it's so important not to bear a false witness. God's law says, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. I told you there's two things I was accused of being a liar about. One was a non-statement, a statement that just said there's first hand, second hand, things like that, okay? And sorry, grammar police, I didn't speak everything just perfectly when I was up speaking. You know, you might have a little bit of knowledge about that, calling Jesus the Father at some point in your preaching. I don't know. You call it sloppy preaching, but let's do a statement analysis on that and see if you're hiding some other truth, what you really believe about the Trinity. Good night. Yeah, sorry about that. You're not all going to catch that reference, but those that know, okay? I was not speaking by perfect. I didn't write everything down and be like, okay, this is going to be my statement for a court of law of what I witnessed. I was just expressing that I have an account of my things, Leslie has an account of her things, and other people have given me accounts that they had. That's it. That's the truth. And that's what was going on in my head as I was speaking. But when you want to try to tell other people that you know that I am a liar based on that, you don't know what I was thinking. You don't know what I was trying to express. How can you call me a liar? And then I didn't even make a statement on what those accounts were. He just assumed he knew what they were. Calling me a liar because of that, you don't even have all the facts. But you know what? The sway, the power, the wordsmith that he is, people are just going to follow along and be like, oh yeah, Pastor Berzins is wicked. Just like anyone else he wants to call wicked. Good luck. But you know what? There's people in this church that I still love and care about, and I've done a lot for over the years, and I've helped, and I've talked on the phone, and those are the people I care about, and those are the people he's lying to. And this is why it's personal for me. This is why I'm getting so hot. If you spend years as a church, if you spend years in this church helping other people in this church, and then I come up later, you go somewhere else, maybe you get ordained to do something, and then you hear, wow, the pastor that ordained me and the church that I was a member of and the people that I know, he's standing up and calling me wicked and calling me a liar. Yeah, you know what? I kind of get upset about that. And you judge for yourself, but I think it's righteous indignation. And I have not gone after any of those people. I have not called them. I have not contacted them. I have not tried to pull them out of that church, regardless of what I think. I never tried to sow discord over there, ever. But I lost a lot of friends. Because I just spoke the truth. The second thing he accused me of lying about was when I told him I wasn't going to make a video. Okay? When I said that, I was still trying to talk to him like a normal person. My intent was to not have him so angry and aggressive and hoping he could cool down and we could still have another talk and let him know, look, I'm not trying to attack you. So why would I even say that? Because his MO is to go out and make videos about people. Oh, something happened? I'm going to make a video and I'm going to publish it and I'm going to start putting these people on blast and this person on blast and this person on blast. Like he always does. And I didn't do that. That's what I was referring to as making a video. It's like making a specific video where I talk to the camera or whatever and I'm making a video about him. I made a statement to our church. And for the benefit of Greenville as well, I wasn't making a video. I was dealing with the issue at hand that did have an impact in our church. because of all the people that were listening and being influenced by his preaching. Now, I say, what I mean, what I'm talking about when I say I'm not going to make a video, and he's going to say what he's going to say about it. Is that something you're going to get up publicly and say you're a liar because of that? Really? Is that your standard? To slander a pastor of an independent fundamental soul-winning Baptist church? That's what it's boiled down to now? Really? That's your threshold? Something he kind of said but didn't really say and didn't actually make a statement to even falsify. You're just claiming that he's a liar about. And another thing about making a video. Well, how about this video that was put out that literally said, Clint Anderson stole my daughter? How truthful was that? Now, many of you might not know anything about that. You don't know if it's true or not. Hey, that's the story that I was told when I first heard about it, and I believed him. And he did something that I've never heard him do before, which was ask me to not allow his brother into our church plant in Greenville. Why would another pastor of another church ask me to not let him into our church? Never done that before. Maybe it's because he told me a story and doesn't want me to hear the other side of the story. Maybe it's because he told me all this stuff about how he stole his daughter. Could that be it? Could be. Especially since, and back then, I was still assuming, hey, there's a faithful witness. Everything he's saying must be true. I had no reason to doubt, but things weren't adding up. I was trying to process the actions of someone who has a 17-year-old daughter that if you really think that he stole your daughter, if I thought someone stole my daughter, I don't care if it's my brother, I don't care if it's my father, I don't care if it's anyone that's related to me, I'm going to make sure that I get my daughter back. And if I know where she is, I'm not flying home until I get her. Like, what else is going to be more important than that? If I have to miss a stinking church service and I'm not going to preach here, whatever. I'm getting my daughter back. And look, this accusation is this is not accidental. No one uses the word stole my daughter other than someone who knows the Bible and is referring to a man-stealer. And what's the judgment or a punishment for a man-stealer? The death penalty. Exodus 21:16 says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. This is why you need to be careful about the things that you put out there. You think you know everything about what was going on over there, and he didn't. But he sure did put out the perception of one way. Because what he did in the video where he called him he stole my daughter. This was weeks after we already offered to do the very thing he was now all of a sudden asking people to do. We'll drive over there. We'll check to see if she's there. How about you could hire a private investigator. There's all these different things that you can do right now, right when these things are happening. But why do you wait so long to now all of a sudden sound, I was, and if you listen to the video, which is taken down, but nothing's ever taken down from the internet, by the way. Everything lives forever. If you listen carefully, you'll actually hear the truth, but then it gets moved on really quickly. I didn't put a video out before because I wanted to save her reputation. No, you want to save your reputation. That's what it's really all about. You don't care. He told me he didn't care about her on the phone. He didn't care where she ended up. Yeah, I don't think I've ever said that publicly either. Am I a liar? What mattered to him is his image. He couldn't have it that his daughter's gone. Don't get sucked in to the lies and the slanders. And if you have doubts, you could ask me. I'm still not sharing everything. I want this to be done. From my perspective, I don't care what goes on over there. I don't care. I haven't followed anything. And in fact, if multiple people didn't send me information and tell me, hey, did you know that I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know because I don't care. I stopped listening to that guy a long time ago. But this is ridiculous. It's out of control. And you know what? It's a warning to him, but a warning to everybody on you got to be careful with the things that you say. As the Bible said there, hey, if you're gonna accuse someone of being a man-stealer, the death penalty is a punishment on that. In God's law, how did he deal with that? Hey, if you're a false witness about that, now all of a sudden you deserve that punishment. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. And your actions do not show that you really, truly believed he's a man-stealer. Anyone who has a daughter, a 17-year-old daughter, with someone who's being subtly depicted as a pervert, if you really thought that, any loving father is going to be over there and being like, no, I'm not leaving until my daughter's with me. That's the actions of someone who actually would really believe you stole my daughter and I'm getting her back. That's not what happened. This isn't very complicated. It's actually pretty easy. The only thing that made it really complicated is a long-standing history of truth-telling. That's what made it complicated for me. Words do a lot of damage. Use them carefully.